Greetings, this is... The Love Doctor is glad to announce that Veronica and I have worked out our issues at 3 a.m. a fortnight ago. So let it be said I am no longer anti-secret agent Sci-Fi mixtures. Speaking of which, it is time we go to Veronica Starr and the Delilah Affair, Part 3. Enjoy.
So, Michael, did our conversation mean nothing? It's not every day I let bartenders take my room key. My sunglasses are on the table about 20 feet away. Same with my earrings, the blaster, 3 mines, and a ceremonial baptisi dagger used for mercy assassinations. The mentally abused concierge does not initially blink. His eyes water before streaming down his face, cleaning the dust now stuck to his cheeks. At least 30 seconds go by before slowly those lids close over hazel orbs. When they open again, the quizzical expression gradually overtakes his face. We met at the front desk. I checked you in. My name is Michael. So he does have a memory, but it's not easy to access. Well, I think you'd have had a lot more fun if we met at a bar, I said. How much longer do I have to live? Days? Maybe 2 weeks. Time is needed. And then you go on your merry way, Michael? A murderer for the rest of your life. Are you going to accompany our friend into his newest adventure? No. I have 3 months. Once you're both dead, having killed each other. Oh, that's sad. Then I'll find a way to die accidentally on the 45th of Mosh. It's allowed to be painless. Unless I try to escape. Then you just shoot me. Please don't. I don't want to hurt you. To test the limits of whatever held me in place, I focus on my mouth, which clearly has been exempted. After all, conversation is necessary, or at least as far as their egos dictate. I open my lips as wide as I can. I connect that motion with an imaginary line to my neck. Eureka. I feel the slightest shift in my posture. Guess one, correct, I muse. Every civilization in the cosmos has, loudly or with secret shame, used nerve stapling as torture. Only 3 years ago, 4 captains in the Astro Union had to be arrested for transferring prisoners into such a device. I had to track down the 4th monster. Some other civilization used it under extreme duress. 1 or 2 empires offer it as a standard practice. But if you're going to be a covert agent, they train us glorious young women to resist the tool. Looks like a tuning fork. They raise it over your skin, the nerves get isolated, then activated. Once, during an infiltration, a Beverin torturer ran into me while I was downloading some wicked plot for another. He didn't last long, like most torturers. He was a fat, obnoxious, lazy piece of shit. But he hit me with the nerve stapler. To say I'd never felt anything like that before would be an understatement on par with, occasionally it's helpful to breathe. I turned it on him. The ruthless monster died fairly quickly, heart attack. But the reason I hadn't been immobilized, and what gave me hope now, was my training. The ability to go muscle by muscle, nerve by nerve. My current miraculous escape should be done quickly. Poor Orion already seems to be struggling. His back is arched in a perfect imitation of a bridge. But Michael still holds the blaster. His blinks arrive at precise intervals, one every 54 seconds. So I continue my nerve realignment exercises. Feeling returns first to my face and upper neck, then to my shoulders. When I finally reach my spine, my life falls back into my own hands. And now discipline takes over. Because without whatever psycho nonsense has kept me frozen, about 100,000 years of instinct screams, run. Training informs me I have to run and then quickly stab this guy. I have to say, even in this most civilized epoch, remembering we emerged from the caves can be helpful. Is he supposed to be drooling like that? I ask. Michael slowly turns his head up. I, less slowly, rush forward. Whether from delicacy or, more likely, third-generation detection scanners, the villains haven't removed my punk outfit, and one of the 500,000 options this chameleon-coated ensemble boasts was a blatant stealth suit, Michael reacts fast. My first stab impales his shoulder. No reaction. His face remains mildly friendly. The blaster angles towards my stomach. I roll forward, throwing the drafted henchman off balance. His first shot ricochets off the scientific instrument, then bounces and slices into the image screen. He keeps pulling the trigger, lights growing dark, then brighter, as energy beams destroy unprotected illumination. The deathly pulse fuels the shadows. 4 more stabs into his chest before his arms find my throat. Nothing seems to stop him. No pain. And he was already going to die. The only question was whether he'd take me with him. I try to fall back, but he follows, slamming me into the table. My spine screams as I claw the air until I find an old friend, my own blaster. It takes a simple thumb stroke and a trigger pull. Michael dissolves in a brightly colored shower of light. The Astro Union gets a fair share of abuse from our rivals, and even occasionally our member civs for being soft. Diplomatically, they may have a point, even militarily. Every one of us is trained to avoid civilian death. The troops under Commodore Talleyrand receive very strict instruction. Civilians must be protected, saved, in fact, whenever possible. We covert types get less of that. We work under what's discreetly referred to as the utilitarian codex. We must, to the best of our ability, evaluate which action will lead to the most harm. If I abandoned poor Orion, I couldn't predict the suffering or pain he'd endure. But if I let that dull little bureaucrat go, I know what he's capable of. Prolonging a war, arranging assassinations, psychic torture, if that's even the legal term for what he's done to poor Michael. Not even a question, really. But honor does occasionally transcend duty. That idiot musician was only here because he wanted to get laid. And that's not a crime in most sectors. Hell, with me, it's an inevitability. So I waste 30 precious seconds hunting for hidden buttons. Nothing. Finally, I shoot the gauge above the floating crystal square. It crashes down, shattering across the floor. The glass-like substance melts, then vaporizes into steam. I waste another 50 seconds reconfiguring a segment of my evening gown into a gas mask. Then I rush in to help the rhythmless romantic. He's heavy, but I managed to drag him out of that room. Switching the setting of my sidearm, I aim for the floor. 4 evenly spaced artillery mode shots crack the transparent surface. The faces of the gamblers below look up, just in time to see a growing fracture above them. They all run. I do too, hoping the lab equipment won't kill any civilians, or at least not many. Still, it would definitely alert Delilah's security teams. A man doesn't have this many secret mechanisms unless he's trying to hide. Fairly obvious, but backup would be appreciated. These rooms were more like tunnels, still made of the same rounded glass. Guinea pig, that's what these are. The twisting escape and exercise pens of a guinea pig. Cursing myself for not grabbing the shades, I listened. There might be footsteps, might be my imagination. But I've been attacked by phantoms before, so action springs into my steps. My blaster raised, ready to drop any miserable wounds. Instead, I find my man relatively quickly. He's come to the end of the hallway, a door half open before him. Through it, I see additional equipment. Arcing electrical power, the outline of an escape pod. A hole burns in the wall next to his delicate little palm. He doesn't move, no tension in his shoulder. "Agent Starr," he says, "I don't suppose you're open to bribery." "Only from the good-looking," I respond. "So you're out of luck. Now is the time to surrender." "Yes, I suppose it is. Tell me how." "I don't want you to think I'm going for a weapon." "Then just throw your hands onto that bald spot, mister." He does. No challenge. Turn around. More of a waddle, but still nothing aggressive. He seems embarrassed, like he's been caught peeking, not orchestrating several counts of conspiracy and murder. "I suppose it is in my best interest to become an informant, Agent Starr. May I please avoid going on my knees? At my age, it does some harm." He correctly interprets my silence, sighs, and with a practiced grace, drops to one knee and then the other. "I liked that kid," I say, and place my blaster against his head. He nods, as if we're bonding at the funeral. "As did I," he agrees, putting his hands behind his back. "I'd hate to be the one to tell his wife a real tragedy." There's no expression of recognition when the casino militia finds us. I hold up my identifier. Without missing a beat, he speaks clearly, loudly, and with perfect diction, even while lying prone. "My name is Herman Wendell Clemens. I'm an irrevocable citizen of the Constitution of Sentient Persons and Allied Planetary Governments. My home world is Colony 4361, making me a human for legal purposes. I hereby formally demand access to the advocates within the formal boundaries of the Astro Union." Cheeky motherfucker knows his rights. The fury on the station commander's face should be painted. Sultash Getha Muldav's scarred cheeks, missing eye, and throat respirator conjure a unique vision. Even with only a few days prep, his name has come up in my research. A revolutionary turned bureaucrat. He'd been one of the major signatories bringing the Delilah system in as a protectorate. A move, at the moment, he probably regretted. "Explain why I shouldn't kill him, and then you to cover it up." "It's not worth it," is the honest answer. "Him you might be able to make disappear, but he did make a public declaration of his rights. The Commodore is fully aware of my presence here, and will be investigating shortly. Still, you have every right to send someone or—" "Thank you." He literally spat on the floor. "But I managed to understand basic jurisdiction without picture books. What I am less clear on, and feel free to offer that extraordinary perception, is the benefit of being a protectorate under the Astro Union. If its citizens are engaged in conspiracy and murder, its agents partaking in wanton destruction, and my legal recourse involves playing with myself while watching what passes for justice on your expedition ships. 4 counts of murder? What is that in Astro Union terms? 4 weeks of community service? Or does he have to send me a really well-written apology?" "Listen, boss, let me be clear on something. I'm not here to negotiate. You're pissed. I understand. My name is Veronica Starr. I created the hole, so you know where to go. Would do it again. This is a psychopath. I don't know everything, but his story checks out. We'll be tried by your laws and by ours. As to the Alliance, that's all on you. But if I remember right, we've chased off at least 4 of your old friends over the last 6 years, so let's not speak from any mountaintops, okay? At the term mountaintop, his eyes narrow. His shaking hands press a button, and his floating support chair adjusts so we are face to face.
Be careful,
He warns.
I've gotten very good at humbling empires.
Good thing we aren't one, I smile. Now, do you want to send someone with us when the Astro Union arrives?
4, for the moment.
He raises his skeletal fingers.
If I remember correctly, we're allowed an advocate for every charge. But don't worry, Miss Starr. I'll have others before long. Now get out of my office before I decide it's time to play renegade again.
A drift-class vessel arrived at the station within 8 hours. Not surprising for me. Commodore Talleyrand usually camouflaged some kind of backup near a covert mission. The Vespid, a 14-deck luxury exploration juggernaut, had seen its share of war and adventure. They also had some of the best medical expertise in the quadrant. I asked Soltash Moldov if we might allow our doctors to take a peek at Orion. The man hadn't woken yet, but would occasionally scream or laugh or hold an invisible base in play. Berry solidified the final agreement. We would allow 3 additional advocates and 4 guards to keep an eye on their citizen. My butler rolled his eyes when I asked if the Grand Leader would finally come down from the hilltop. Herman did nothing. Well, that's not true. He asked for a newspaper, which we refused, but allowed projection of a local show against his cell. The guards and my hidden cameras indicated nothing. He tried occasionally, small talk, but had no luck, no ranting, no demands, simply bored. What's he up to, Berry? I ask, as Berry passes me his creme brulee, his own style. As I push my spoon past the small flame, our prisoner looks up, and we make eye contact through the camera, as if he watches me, not the other way around. Oh well. The deep voice of Captain Alvier echoes in his chest. I didn't realize it was my old friend who called. Hello, Victor, I smile. He doesn't bother to hide a famished evaluation. The red and purple exosuit I wear leaves very little to the imagination, not that he needed it. He has some pretty vivid memories. So what's the prisoner done, and why am I taking half of the Delilah sector with me to Commodore Talleyrand? Preventing an inter-system incident, I offer. Seems all you fleet folks are always trying to keep the protectorates happy. I thought I was doing you a favor. I could tell him to fuck off. Is that what you're looking for? We were stepping towards each other. His chief of security would speak to Delilah's chief of security. Neither of us were needed. The correct verb, Veronica Starr. But no, I don't want him to fuck off. Guess again. Memories are interesting. They're either a distant vision or an immediate impulse. My body remembered his immediately. We kiss. Extradition normally takes upwards of 6 hours between the Union and its protectorate. We still rushed to arrive on time. The Soltash floats in front of his small army of advocates, half of whom seem capable of murder. Commander Alice Grove, Victor's longtime second-in-command, eyes her local counterparts warily. The elite Union troops hold their ground with their commander. Between both sides, Herman bobs his head, whistling some tune. Captain on deck. The Unionists all salute as we come through the sliding doors. Alice allows the slightest raised eyebrow and the hint of a smile. Oh, 2 legends in as many days. Herman offers a polite nod. Captain Alvera, am I mistaken?
I'm formally objecting to this perversion.
Soltash Moldov sneers. His voice modulator turns up so it echoes through the casino. A public objection indeed. Noted. Victor answers respectfully, nodding for his troops to step forward, and it will be submitted to the adjudicator upon arrival. Until then, you are permitted full access to...
I know the damn statutes, boy.
Moldav tapped his metal armrest, and a giant covered in marrow ink steps forward with the prisoner. The patterns are so intertwined his skin disappears behind blues, greens, and violet.
This lord will accompany the cattle until we can reclaim him.
Barbish. Herman smiled as if seeing an old friend. Glad to have a steady hand at my side. Within a breath, the ogre's hand flew. The backhand sent blood flying, staining the crystal floor. The Vespid's crew surged forward, and the Sultash cursed his men. But I saw him. The real Herman Clemens, and a rage I'd only seen in the eyes of tyrants. Without a hint of psychic ability, I knew that our prisoner had decided to kill his guard, and in that moment I believed he would. May I have it placed in the record as well? The gentle voice returned with a listless expression that I was struck in the transfer. Don't worry about that, Herman, I said. I'm the one leading your interrogation. I'm allowed to get creative. An honor, Agent Starr. The interrogation room can be viewed through at least 6 different scanners and the one-way plexi. They are unusually large to fit all interviewing parties. We, as a courtesy, let the Delilah delegation go first. The truth orb hovered, unbothered. Herman answered every question. How long have you been on the station? 6 years, 3 months, 4 days. Were you involved in the disappearance of Karish Mox? No. In Dilseo? No, but I know who was. He was one of your mountain friends. Eularia Cross? Yes, used her as a courier, then made her step into an engine, no body to discover. I keep track. He answers the locations and the method of 43 murders, has been personally responsible for 7. However, when Sultash began asking about energy draining and embezzlement, Herman begins to laugh. So you were looking. I always hoped the great Moldav was smarter than he seemed. Didn't fall for my decoys. Good work. Yes, yes.
Did you steal 40,031,065 kashiza worth of stored power and about 30 million solari?
Very close. I can get you the exact figures, but that's about right. A little conservative if my math is correct, but sure. I step into the arena with Sultash Moldav. He does not bark, but eyes me carefully as I ask, so what was all that for? The brainwashing, the weird little lab? There's nothing like that anywhere in the galaxy. I should hope not. So what was it all for? Kajna doesn't play. No contact, living in the walls like a rat. There's something deeper. What are we, some kind of mad scientist? I do suffer from a touch of agoraphobia. Do we enjoy wars, maybe? Or is it justice we're interested in? Can't let peace calcify over oppression. The little man snorts with laughter. Close to the first time, Agent Starr. Then tell me, why are you doing this? Herman seems to actually think about it. His plump lips press together, and that confused expression settles back onto his wide brow. His large ears twitch. What is the point, he repeats slowly, of realizing you have power, real ability, and not using it, not testing it? Doesn't an idea ever occur to you, Agent Starr? Wait, bad example. Let me try this delicately. You've got fairly famous appetites. What happens when there's a man you want, or more importantly, a man who doesn't want you? Isn't that a challenge? Don't we do anything to test our capabilities? You gamble, you fight, and you win. So do I. But no one chose me to blast about the universe. Instead, They put me in some small research cubicle, running proofs. They assigned me children's games. And the amazing thing is, they were on the verge of true discoveries, but they lacked the sophistication to ask the correct questions. Is Barry still here? I'd been on the job too long to answer. No, he didn't like traveling on Union drifts. He'd promised to meet me at home. Who? I answer. Sorry, random thought, Agent Starr. Trust me, if we traded time and place, your journey would have been similar to mine. We play. I picked the team that interested me. But I'm only really here to have fun and do my best. My earring begins to vibrate. That internal ring that only I can hear. A priority message. What does Talleyrand want now? Let's talk more about our celestial connection in a little while. I move back and whisper to Captain Alvia. I've got to go. The French Reaper wants a word. Let me take you to my private comm room, he responds. We move away from the center light. Much to my surprise, the Saltash floats in a line with us.
Where are we going?
Looking to make a third, I answer, picking up my speed as Victor directs us towards his quarters.
Let me try this again.
He spits again on the floor.
What happened? I saw your face, the weight. Something clicked or...
A message came in, I snapped, taking the corner. From my commander. So you can absolutely... Death almost interrupts me. As I glance ahead, Captain Victor Alvia already has his blaster out, aimed for my head. Instinct moves quick, but not faster than plasma. When the sound went off, I wondered why death felt so much like adrenaline. My kick arcs through the air and knocks the blaster from his hands, but it fell before I made contact. My verbal sparring partner had pressed a hidden switch in his mobile unit. The effects of the stun beam still caused the captain's chest to glow. Enough Berry gigs fired to knock out Berry, but Victor keeps coming. The same blast did nothing that had dominated Michael's face at the end. Then it clicked. The assassination attempt on me by the cracked Stye needed someone who knew how I operated. The captain lifts his weapon again, and both the Saltash and I shoot, neither of our weapons set on a merciful level. And while Victor falls back, holes in his chest and head, the intra-ship communication hub clicks on, and Herman makes his first announcement. Greetings, old friends. We have some prisoners in the interrogation chamber. Take them to my classroom, and then kill Veronica Starr on sight. The sooner the better. Thank you, and have a pleasant afternoon. Well, that's another world saved, doomed, and or slightly weirder than we found it. Either way, you made it.
And when you're ready to plunge back into the abyss, we'll be here, lurking, whispering.
If you liked today's episode, tell a friend. If you hated today's episode, tell an enemy.
You can find us on Substack, YouTube, or wherever you scream into the void about podcasts. Drop us a comment. Send us your thoughts in all caps. We love that. You're charming.
And hey, if you want to help keep these stories weird and our tea hot, you can throw some coins our way on Substack. It keeps the lights on. Literally, Lane is writing in the dark.
Paperback Radio, no ads, professional narrators, and humanish weirdos telling you strange tales week after week. After week, after week, after week.
We told you to stay in the back room, Lizzie.
Nah.
Thanks for wandering through the chaos with Paperback Radio.
See you next time.
Let's talk more about our celestial connection in a bit. Oh, that's her.